Have you ever seen how some people seem to pass through life almost unnoticed? They're never the loud ones, never the ones causing a stir. They don't seek the spotlight. Instead, they make themselves smaller, careful not to trouble anyone. They stay on the edges, observing the room, rather than taking up space in it. And if you pay close attention, you'll catch it. The quiet heaviness behind their eyes, the pause before they speak, like they've already decided their voice doesn't matter. Many of them are simply the adult versions of children who grew up without the emotional care they needed. And their loneliness isn't something new. It's something that began years ago, in the very place that should have given them the most comfort, their home. When people think of neglect, they often picture something obvious, like a child left without food or shelter. But emotional neglect is far more subtle, and in some ways, even more invisible. It doesn't leave bruises on the skin. It leaves them on the heart. And because it's so quiet, so ordinary, many who grow up this way don't even realize what's missing. They just know that something feels off. They know that while other children laughed freely, cried openly, and spoke without fear, they learned to hold it all in. They learned early on that their emotions were either too much or not enough. And so, they build a survival strategy: silence. Research in developmental psychology shows us just how damaging this silence can be. Dr. Jonice Webb, who has written extensively on childhood emotional neglect, explains that children don't need perfect parents. They don't need every single emotion validated. What they need is to feel seen, soothed, and understood most of the time. When that doesn't happen, when parents are too distracted, overwhelmed, or emotionally unavailable, the child begins to feel invisible. And invisibility, when carried for years, becomes one of the heaviest burdens a human being can bear. What makes this even harder is that unlike trauma caused by direct harm, emotional neglect is defined by what doesn't happen. There's no one dramatic moment to point to. Instead, it's the thousands of little moments. When a child says, "I'm scared," and no one comforts them. When they cry, and no one asks why. When they're excited, but no one mirrors their joy. Slowly, they stop reaching out. Slowly, they learn that their inner world isn't welcome. And as adults, they continue this pattern, often without even realizing it. Think about the way this shows up later in life. The emotionally neglected child grows into the adult who feels disconnected in relationships, even when surrounded by people. They may appear independent, capable, even strong. But underneath that exterior lies a persistent question: do I really matter to anyone? And because they never learned how to trust their emotions, they often struggle to know themselves. They doubt their instincts. They suppress their needs. They work endlessly to prove their worth. Yet inside, they carry an emptiness that no achievement can fill. Loneliness in this sense isn't just about being alone. It's about being unknown. Studies have shown that chronic loneliness can have the same impact on health as smoking 15 cigarettes a day. It increases the risk of depression, anxiety, and even physical illnesses like heart disease. And when we trace the roots of this loneliness, so often we find the same story. A child who learned that their feelings didn't matter. Now, it's important to pause here and say this. Most parents who create emotional neglect are not cruel or malicious. Many of them are emotionally neglected themselves. They love their children. They provide for them. They want the best. But love without attunement can still wound. A parent might say, "Stop crying, you're fine," thinking it builds resilience, when in reality, it teaches the child to doubt their pain. A parent might dismiss excitement with, "Calm down, it's not a big deal," believing they are keeping their child grounded, when really, they are telling them, "Your joy is too much." Over time, These subtle messages accumulate, and the child learns not to trust their own inner world. What's fascinating is how adaptable children are. To survive, they develop masks. Some become the perfect child, always achieving, always excelling, trying to earn the love and attention they crave. Others become the invisible one, withdrawing, staying quiet, trying not to take up space, and some act out, misbehaving, not because they want trouble, but because even negative attention feels better than no attention at all. Each of these masks hides the same truth, a deep hunger to be seen and valued. As adults, these masks don't just disappear. The perfectionist continues to overwork, burning themselves out, while secretly feeling unworthy. The invisible one avoids conflict, avoids vulnerability, avoids risk, because somewhere inside, they believe they don't deserve more. The rebel might sabotage relationships, or push people away before they can leave, all rooted in the same fear of abandonment that began in childhood. On the surface, these lives may look different, but underneath, they share the same thread, the loneliness of not having their inner world acknowledged. And when you make that shift, you're not only healing yourself, you're also helping to heal the world. Every time someone chooses connection instead of silence, kindness instead of dismissal, and presence instead of neglect, it creates space for others to do the same. And maybe, just maybe, that's how the cycle finally ends. Not by being perfect, not by rewriting the past, but through the simple, courageous act of choosing to live fully in this very moment.